Disheartening truth of Beauty and the Beast. A prince who got cursed and turned into a beast. He trapped a beautiful girl to set her father free. Later on, the beast and the girl fell in love, and the curse of the beast broke after they kissed each other. Sounds quite illogical, right? But it's a fairy tale, guys, where the magic takes away the logic. But here is the twist. The tale of Beauty and the Beast is not a fictional tale. There was actually a man who suffered from a condition known as hypertrichosis. The tale is made on the life of this man, with uncountable alterations. It all starts in the 1500s in Spain. A boy, named Petrus Gonçalves, was born. He suffered from a rare disorder called hypertrichosis, or in simple language werewolf syndrome. A person suffering from this syndrome has long wolf-like hair all over his face, neck, and hand, basically all over the body. People around thought that Petrus was cursed, or he was a daemon, or a beast, as they were not aware of this disorder. People from the town treated him the worst they could. He was trolled due to his appearance. Petrus used to be sad and lonely, and used to cry always, because of such inhuman behavior towards him. But it was only when people imprisoned Petrus like animals. His life turned into a living hell at the age of 10. Petrus was not given human-like food to eat. Instead, he was given bones and raw meat from animals to eat. He was made to live so horribly just because of his hairy appearance. In the year 1547, Petrus was packed as an object and was transported to the court of King Henry II in France. But it was very risky to leave Petrus free in the court directly, so the doctors in France decided they would first examine Petrus. Under the name of examination, Petrus was tortured like hell. Hundreds of needles were poked at Petrus just to examine him, to verify whether he is a safe creature to be presented in the court. During this process, the doctors found that Petrus was actually a normal human with extra hair. Petrus was taken to the court of King Henry. King had conversations with him. In the same flow, King asked his servants to educate Petrus like other kids. This was a turning point in Petrus's life, as now at least he was being treated like a human. As he started getting educated, he learned 3 different languages, and he became an expert in Latin. He even learned royal etiquettes. King Henry noticed all this, and got impressed by Petrus, and gave him space in the royal court. The learnings of Petrus were well used in the court to communicate with foreigners, who used to appear at the court. It is said that Henry liked Petrus. But because of this, other nobles in the court developed a hatred of Petrus, and they started looking for opportunities to ridicule and demean him because of his appearance. But Petrus was a kind man, so he overlooked this behavior. Until King Henry was alive, Petrus at least got some human-like treatment. Soon, King Henry passed away, and the throne went to his wife Catherine. She was a cruel queen. She could do anything to satisfy herself. Even before she got to the throne, she had killed a crowd of people on the open streets, just because they were not from the same religion she belonged to. So just imagine what could be the level of cruelty she could go for after getting the throne. Catherine saw Petrus, and she was curious about what the kids born from Petrus would look like. So she decided she would get Petrus married to some girl, because she wanted more humans, who would look like bears, to entertain the royal court. During those days, there was a servant working in the royal court. Coincidentally, her name was also Catherine. She was very beautiful, so much so, that the nobles of the royal court were also attracted to the servant. But the queen was jealous because of all this, so she made a plan to tackle 2 problems with one solution. Queen Catherine called the other Catherine, and told her that she has found a groom for her, and it was the time she has to get dressed as a bride, and come to get married on so-and-so date. Just like kings and queens decided on their kids' partners, they also had the privilege to decide whom their servants would be married to. But here's the downside of it: Queen did not tell Catherine about the groom, she kept it anonymous. Queen was quite excited about this wedding, as 2 of her wishes were getting fulfilled at the same time. On the day of the wedding, Catherine saw Petrus. She was disheartened by seeing a bear-looking man. She wanted to run off from the wedding, but she couldn't do so. So, Catherine got married to Petrus. Initially, she just hated Petrus, but as time passed away, she realized that Petrus was actually a very kind and humble man who was getting tortured because of his appearance. Slowly, Catherine developed a soft corner for Petrus. She started looking after Petrus and taking care of him. Eventually, she fell in love with him. Finally, Petrus had someone who cared for him and loved him. Later on, they had kids. The kids did not suffer from the hairy condition of Petrus. But this applied only to the initial 2 kids. After that, rest of the children of Catherine and Petrus suffered the same werewolf syndrome as Petrus. In all, they had 7 children, out of which 3 were normal and 4 of them had this hairy syndrome. The royal court treated them like a wild family. They were just a source of entertainment in the court. Slowly, this family was gaining popularity in different towns, so they were sent to multiple royal courts one after the other, for the purpose of entertaining royals. They were treated just similar to what we do with soft toys. Even if the family was never imprisoned, but their life was not in their complete control, they had to go wherever they were told to go. This continued for quite a long time. At last, they were sent to Italy, and the family settled over there. In Italy, there was a duke who hired Petrus for work. Here also Petrus was getting objectified like anything. The family was getting used to this as well, but it was then the duke separated the 4 hairy kids of Petrus and Catherine to gift his noble friends in different countries. The kids were suffering similarly to Petrus did. Both the parents cried brutally and requested to not ship their kids, but no one helped them. It is said that Petrus and Catherine were married for 40 long years. Catherine died around the year 1623. Petrus was never considered a human, so his death never got recorded, but he died just a few years before Catherine passed away. So this was the ending of Beauty and the Beast. The Beast from the tale was never a beast. He was just a normal human with an abnormal disorder, which was misinterpreted by the society. This is an example of how cruel this world can become if you don't fit into their norm of normality. So, this was it about the tale. Stay tuned for more tales and original stories.